Hi everyone. Let me take up one more important topic of fourth unit, that is presentation and discussion in legislature houses. So that is the topic name. Whatever the basic principles we explained in that previous class, it may be relating to participation of the parliamentarian, it may be participation of the public, maybe participation of the interested group. So as to assess those things, we have to uh, properly understand this topic. Accordingly, we could assess status of public participation, participation of the member of the parliament, participation of interested group, so that we could understand under this procedural aspect. It is crucial. That would be very difficult to explain the things within 1 or 2 hours, but we have to sum it up like elaborative procedure, so that has been adopted by both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Understanding the topic, the presentation and discussion of a particular bill, so that strongly depends upon the interrelationship between all these rules. That would be very difficult to understand whole documents or whole rules, but at my level best, I have made an attempt to briefly explain the presentation and discussion of a particular bill before the legislature. As I said, to what extent the standard principles they have been adopted under Indian Constitution or Indian legal system, so that could be understood through these uh, the provisions relating to presentation and consideration of the bill. Anyway, I will be explaining the things under these things. That is introduction, then the constitutional status of the procedure, then stages of presentation and consideration. So that is the second, third heading. So that is the core aspect of this topic. The important stages like first reading, second reading, third reading. So they are the core aspect of the presentation and consideration of the bill in Parliament. So the third reading would be stages of presentation and consideration. So that is we will be understanding these three readings, that is first reading, second reading and third reading. Then we will be understanding the assent of the bill, then publication of the bill, then consideration of the bill in joint session, then the procedure to be followed in case of financial bill, the procedure to be followed in case of private bill, then the withdrawal of the bill. So these are the things to be discussed so as to properly understand the topic, that is presentation and consideration of the bill by the parliamentarians. Anyway, let us start with that second reading, that is constitutional status of the procedure. Constitution itself is very specific about procedure to be followed by the parliamentarian. So Article 118 of the Indian Constitution uh, contemplated that each house of the parliament may make rules for regulating, subject to the provisions of this constitution, its procedure and the conduct of its business. So each house of the parliament is authorized under this provision to materialize or concretize their own procedure and the rules relating to business of the house. Accordingly, both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, so they have adopted their own rules. So far as Lok Sabha is concerned, they adopted whatever the rules followed for a constituent assembly by virtue of Article 118 subclass 2 of the Indian Constitution. So Article 118 subclass 2 says that until rules are made under class 1, the rules of procedure and standing orders in force immediately before the commencement of this constitution with respect to the legislature of the domain of the India shall have effect in relation to Parliament, subject to such modification and adaptation as may be made therein by the chairman of the Council of State or the Speaker of the House of People, as the case may be. So, by virtue of this provision, the procedure contemplated prior to independent India. So that was adopted, and the with some modification. So these rules are still followed in India. Accordingly, the rules of procedure and conduct of business in the House of People. So that was published in the official gazette, that is Gazette of India Extraordinary, dated 17th April 1952. So these rules of procedure and conduct of business in House of the People 1952. So that is the procedure relating to the rules of procedure and conducting of business in Lok Sabha. Then for Rajya Sabha, by virtue of Article 118 of the Constitution of India, so the Rajya Sabha has adopted its own rules in the year 1964. Prior to that, the previous existing rules were followed according to Article 118 subclass 2 of the Constitution. So after 1964, so the Rajya Sabha has devised its own rules, and according to 1964 rules of procedure and conduct of business in Council of States, so that has been adopted by the Lok Sabha. Accordingly, the procedure relating to conduct of business in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that has been taken care by these houses. So Article 118, that is the base for the constitutional provision like regarding procedure. In addition to that, Article 107, 108, 109, so they are also relevant so far as yeah, of course 110, 11, so they're also relevant. These are all the procedural provisions relating to presentation of the bill, discussion of the bill, consideration of the bill, approval of the bill. So I will be explaining all these things in the context of that respective reading. Now, after understanding this constitutional status, we have to discuss these readings. So, the first reading, second reading, third reading. I don't know whether you people will be explaining all the things, but you should concentrate on these three readings, that is first reading, second reading and third reading. So these are the core aspect of the presentation and consideration of the bill before the parliament. So let us take up what is just first reading, then second reading and third reading. Anyway, let me start with first reading. So the first reading is the legislative process. Start with introduction of a bill in the parliament. So that may be in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So a bill can be introduced by a minister in case of government bill. Of course, it can be introduced by private member also. So the bill introduced by the minister, it is called as government bill, and the bill introduced by the private member, so it is called as private members bill. So according to constitution, where that bill that is to be necessarily introduced, and who has to introduce that bill. So these two questions, for these two questions we could get answer under this first reading. So bill can be introduced either in like Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So that is the mandate of Article 107 of the Indian Constitution. Then it can be introduced either by the minister of the respective ministry or the member of the parliamentarian. Article 107 subclass 1 says that subject to the provisions of Article 109 and 117 with respect to money bills and other financial bills, a bill may be originate in either house of the parliament. So bill can be introduced either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, but these are the limitations. That is Article 109 and Article 117 of the Indian Constitution. So Article 108, that is relating to the bill to be considered like the special procedure to be followed with respect to money bills. Then that 117, that is relating to special provisions as to financial bills. So barring these two bills, so the bills like that financial bills, they are to be necessarily, or money bills, they are to be necessarily introduced in the Lok Sabha. So, barring these things, the rest of the bills they can be introduced either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So, what is that procedure? So, we are discussing that first reading. First reading consists introduction of the bill. So, it can be introduced either by minister or private member. Then that may be introduced in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So, that is person who can introduce bill and the house or floor in which that can be introduced. Then the second thing relating to first reading is like notice of motion. The concerned ministry or the department has to send a notice of the motion for introduction of the bill. So that is to be signed by the ministry in that prescribed form. So same is to be submitted to general secretary of that respective house. It may be Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. That is to be enclosed with the note by a copy of the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. If it is already printed, so one printed copy of the bill in each version duly authorized by minister, so that will be sent to secretariat of the house in which that bill is to be introduced or is proposed to be introduced. So notice that is to be given by the minister of respective department to the secretary general of respective houses. So secretariat or secretary general of the houses, so they will be playing vital role so as to initiate or so as to concretize or materialize that presentation of the bill or consideration of the bill before the house. So the notice of motion, so that is to be given by the respective ministry, even in case of private bill, so that notice that is to be given by that private person. As I said, the bill may be printed prior motion, or after giving motion also that bill can be sent for printing. So this is preliminary printing because we will be coming across one more printing after assent of the president. In addition to this notice to motion of introduction of a bill in the house to the secretariat, so there would be one more notice that is notice to the houses. Okay, so that will be taken care by that respective chairperson of the house in case of Lok Sabha speaker, in case of Rajya Sabha vice president will be taking care of that. So 7 days notice is normally required for introducing an official bill in the Lok Sabha. In case of Rajya Sabha, it is only 5 days. So without such kind of notice, the bill cannot be introduced in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, but there are exceptions, so that I will explain. So the bill is to be introduced along with the copies of that particular bill. So that printed version of the bill that is to be provided at least 2 days before the day on which the bill is proposed to be introduced. So that the copy of the bill that is to be given to the members, so that they will be reading the bill, they will be understanding bill. So such kind of provision that intend to facilitate the members to properly read that, to properly understand that, and accordingly participate in that debate. But there are certain exceptions, as I said, so as to give notice. The first thing is like if any such kind of exception required for the minister, a minister can submit a request to the chairperson or speaker to waive the requirement of this direction for introduction of the bill. So he has to give full reason in a memorandum for consideration of the chairman, explaining why that bill is sought to be introduced in that particular bill uh, uh, before 2 days, where the bill is to be introduced in that Lok Sabha. So minister has to submit before the speaker, saying that the what is that the leader of the opposition, they have been consulted and they do not have any objection to exempt the direction for introduction of the bill. So subjected to that, it can be exempted, that notice or notice to the members, or that is even relating to 2 days before the copy to be provided to the members before 2 days of that session. But the thing is that here we come across the difference between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In case of Rajya Sabha, if the bill is to be introduced before Rajya Sabha, so the memorandum for consideration, like the reasons of memorandum, so that is to be given to the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. But in case of Lok Sabha, in addition to the reason, he has to inform to the office of the speaker that the opposite party, they have been consulted and they have no objection to the exemption of the direction for the introduction of the bill. So these memorandum, so that will be circulated. So copies they are to be printed, and that memorandum of reason that will be circulated among the members, so that why that bill is immediately introduced before the house. So accordingly, that like the bill will be introduced before the respective house on the fixed date. So the date and all that will be taken care by Secretariat of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So thereafter, like the the date on which that bill will be introduced in the parliament, so normally that would be published in that gazette. So one more important thing which we come across in case of first reading is opposition to the introduction of the bill. So if the motion for as I said, opposite party, they are to be consulted so as to present that bill. So if any opposition by the opposite party or any member of the parliament, so what is the procedure to be followed? So that has been contemplated under these procedural rules. So if a motion for leave to introduce a bill is opposed, it is up to the speaker to decide that particular matter. The After providing an opportunity to the members who opposing that bill, so that question will be put in vote. So accordingly, that will be decided. So if the opposition to the bill is based on the fact that it is against the constitution, so there would be full discussion relating to that particular bill. Accordingly, the decision will be taken by the speaker of that respective house, sorry, the chairman of the respective house. So that is the opposition. Then after this introduction, so normally the bill will be sent to a parliamentary standing committee. So there would be department related parliamentary standing committee. For every department, there would be parliamentary standing committee to examine such bill as per the reference to these committees by chairman of Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, as the case may be. So they will be looking into that particular bill. So accordingly, the review of the bill that will be taken care by this parliamentary standing committee. You kindly visit that Parliament of India website, wherein you come across the parliamentary standing committee. So once that bill is sent to parliamentary standing committee, so they will be reviewing that accordingly. Whatever, if any amendments or if any changes required, so they will be suggesting that such kind of things on the basis of the recommendation made by the committee. Even that minister of that respective ministry or department, he too can participate in that standing committee proceedings, or that standing committee process. Once it is finalized, whatever the amendments proposed to be made in the bill, so that is to be approved by the parliament. In fact, the Ministry of Law and Justice will take care of all these things while changing that bill according to standing committee revision. In fact, the changes made to that bill, that is to be sent to Secretary General of concerned house, and that is to be sent to Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs so as to inform that updates relating to that. So that is first reading. Then the second reading, that is the further stage of consideration of the bill. This second stage that consists two things, that is first stage and second stage. So in that first stage, of course, after after getting report from the standing committee, after introducing necessary what is that corrections to that particular bill, so again there would be submission of the bill before the house. So that is first stage. So moving of the motion again for introduction of the bill before the house, so that would be first stage. So second stage could be understood under two stages. First stage is like introduction of the bill before the house. Second stage is consideration of that report of select committee. So here we come across the select committee role. So the first stage of the second reading is uh, the bill will be submitted before the house according to rule 74. When a bill is introduced or on some subsequent occasion, the member in charge may make one of the following motion in regard to one's own bill, namely that it be taken into consideration. So the minister of that respective ministry or department may introduce that bill, and the motion may mention like the following things, that it may be taken into consideration, or it may be referred to a select committee of the house, or that it be referred to a joint committee of the houses with the concurrence of the council, that it be circulated for the purpose of uh, eliciting opinions of the public. So these four options will be given by the it is not option. So that is the way of submitting bill, or the motion consists to such kind of things. So accordingly the decision will be taken by the house. So once that motion introduced by the member, so normally there would be discussion relating to general principles. So it is popularly called as discussion on principles of the bill, and its provision may be discussed generally, but the details of the bill shall not be discussed further. That will be taken care in that third stage, like third reading. So here the principles of the bill will be discussed in the house, and its provisions may be generally discussed in the house. So this stage that is dominated by the one who introducing that bill. There is no much scope for rest of the members. So whole thing that is to be taken care by the one who introducing that bill. So after as I said here, there would be many options, like the bill may be considered, it can be taken into consideration, it may be referred to the select committee, or it may be referred to the joint committee, it may be referred to the public opinion. So normally once that bill is submitted before the house in terms of second reading, so normally it will be sent to select committee, or in certain exceptional circumstances joint committee. So joint committee, that is the committee constituted by both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha chairmen, or it may be circulated for public opinion. Normally, in the second reading, once that motion for moving that particular bill is introduced by the member of the parliament or that respective minister, that will be sent to select committee. Here we come across select committee. There we come across, in that first reading, we come across standing committee. You know, the difference between standing committee and select committee is that standing committee, they are permanent in nature. So for every department there would be standing committee. So as to take care of such kind of reference by the house. But select committee, that would be constituted by, in case of Lok Sabha, chairman of the like speaker; in case of Rajya Sabha, chairman of council of state; in case of joint committee, so both will be participating. Accordingly that committee will be constituted. So here also the task of the committee is to again to review that bill again. So normally the chairman for that select committee will be appointed by that respective chairman of the respective house. So the what is it, a parliamentary department will be playing vital role while assisting this committee to review that bill or to conduct or carry out their business as per the reference of the house. So the select committee may review that bill as part of its review process. It may get opinion from the public, it may get opinion from the stakeholders, even it may get opinion from the government also. So by collecting all these things, that bill will be reviewed by the select committee. So once that select committee submitted its report, if any amendments required, so that amendments they are to be carried out. So like if you look into rules, rule number 95 of the Lok Sabha rules contemplated notice of the amendments. So if any bill is to be considered for amendment, so the notice, one day before notice that is to be given, any member may object to moving amendment, like unless the chairman allows the amendment to be moved. So it is up to the chairman to accept or to reject that, but after discussion that will be taken care. So normally subjected to certain conditions, such kind of amendment will be allowed. So the following are the conditions shall be governing that admissibility of the amendments in the parliament. Rule number 96 of the Lok Sabha rules, that is relating to amendment admissibility of the amendments. The first rule is like an amendment shall be within the scope of the bill and relevant to the subject matter of the class to which it relates. That is the first one. That should be related one. An amendment shall not be moved which has merely the effect of negative vote. The third one, an amendment shall not be inconsistent with the previous decision of the council on the same question. An amendment shall not be frivolous or be such as to make class which it proposes to amend unintelligible or ungrammatical. So the fifth one, if an amendment refers to or is not intelligible without subsequent amendment or schedule, so notice of the subsequent amendment or schedule shall be given before the first amendment moved. So that is the fifth condition. So subjected to these conditions, the permission will be given for amendment of the bill. In fact, if any presidential the sanction or recommendation of the president is required, so that is to be sought, that is to be taken. For that reason, there would be communication between president office and secretariat of Lok Sabha. Accordingly, that amendments will be considered by the houses. So that will be considered. There would be moving of the motion for consideration of the amendment bill. Accordingly, that would be approved. So these are all the first stage regarding second reading. The second stage, that is consideration of the bill by the house after getting a report from the select committee. Okay, so after presentation of the report of the select committee or joint committee to the house, so the minister of that respective department may give notice of his intention to move that bill as recommended or reported by select committee or joint committee. So here also he will be presenting that motion, saying that the bill may be taken into consideration and be passed, be recommended to same committee or another committee, are circulated for a public opinion. So this is, see, if you look into standing committee process, if you look into the first stage of select committee process, again that sending that bill, if it is required, to the select committee for second time. So all these things that indicates the extensive exercise involving with lawmaking process, or the way in which the subject matter will be taken care by the parliamentarians, or intensive labor and skill exercised by the parliament so as to materialize that particular bill. So in that second stage, that motion will be introduced by the minister of that respective house, respective department. Accordingly, these options will be given. So if it is required, again it will be sent for select committee or joint select committee to review that again, or it may circulate for public opinion. So same procedure will be followed. So if it is not submitted for select committee or what is that joint select committee, or if it is not circulated for public opinion, then that class by class discussion will take place in parliament. So normally once that select committee submitted its report, then that class by class discussion will be started in that parliament. So this is the intensive exercise of the parliament, or this is the stage wherein that bill will be meticulously discussed by the parliamentarians. So class by class discussion will be taken in this stage. So if you look into rules, some of the Lok Sabha rules, particularly 104, 5, 6, 7, 8, so they are relating to class by class discussion. So after passing that motion, so the bill will be taken for class by see that rule 104 says like submission of a bill class by class. So that bill will be submitted for class by class discussion by the chairman of that respective house. So if it is required or if the chairman if he thinks fit that can be postponed, that consideration of the class, even schedule will be considered. So in case if any errors or if any apparent errors, so chairmans they can rectify that. So the whole bill will be discussed in this stage. So after the discussion, so the bill will go to third stage. So what is that third stage? So it is very simple stage. The bill will be moved by the minister of that respective house. So this stage is known as third stage. So at this stage, the debate is to arguments either to support that bill or to reject that bill. So there wouldn't be any in detail or in-depth discussion relating to that particular bill. So it is only formal. So verbal or consequential amendments are allowed even during this stage also. In passing an ordinary bill, a simple majority of the present and voting is necessary, but in case of bill to amend the constitution, a majority of the total membership of the house and majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting, so that is required. So subjected to that, the bill will be passed by the parliament. So that is this third stage. Third stage is very simple stage. If any amendments, as I said, that out of because of the discussion of that particular bill, if any amendment required for that bill, normally that will be allowed by the chairman. So the copies of the amendments will be circulated by the secretariat of that Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha after carrying out those things. So that would be taken care by that law ministry in consultation with the ministry of that respective department. So after approval of the bill, again that will be initiated before the parliament. So third reading. So accordingly, that would be finalized by the parliament. So that is third reading. So these are all the readings relating to constitution, or these are all the important stages relating to consideration and discussion relating to passing of a bill in a particular house. So once that bill passed in a particular house, so it will go to next house. If it is in Lok Sabha, it will go to Rajya Sabha. If it is in Rajya Sabha, it will go to Lok Sabha. Before like of course the same procedure that is to be followed in other house also, but before that there would be some preparation by the law ministry before sending that particular bill for other house. So there would be scrutiny by the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha secretariat with a view to correcting patent errors. It is not the correction or modification of the bill. So patent errors, some grammatical mistakes and all, so that will be taken care by the secretariat, that respective secretariat. Again, that will be submitted before the house. After accepting that, that will be sent to other house. So the same procedure will be followed in other houses. Okay, so that same procedure that is to be followed in that respective house. So first reading, second reading, third reading, so that is to be followed. In addition to these things, in certain circumstances, the passing of the bill may require joint session or joint sitting of both houses of the parliament. So under what circumstances that joint sitting of the both houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, will come to picture? So the constitution is very specific about that. If you look into article 108 of the constitution, so a bill after passing in a particular house, before transmitting that particular bill, or once that bill is transmitted, so for the following reasons, the joint session or joint sitting of both houses can be conducted by the president. The reasons are like the bill is rejected by other house. The houses, that is the first reason. The second reason is the houses have finally disagreed as to the amendments to be made in the bill. More than 6 months elapsed from the date of reception of the bill by the other house without bill being passed by it. So these are the three circumstances wherein the president may call for joint session, so that bill will be taken into consideration in that joint session. So that is the circumstances in which the bill will be taken for joint session. So during this time, the houses, they are not supposed to conduct any session relating to passing of the bill. Of course, if any such instruction from the president office, then they could take up such kind of discussion. So the bill will be considered by the joint committee, accordingly will be passed by the joint committee. So another important thing relating to the passing and consideration of the bill, that is assent of the bill. So article 1.1, so article 111 of the Indian Constitution, that is relating to assent of the bill. So when a bill has been passed by the both houses of the parliament, so that will be presented to the president, and the president shall declare either that he assents the bill or that he withhold assent therefrom. The thing is that the rule is that the president, as soon as possible after presentation of the bill for his assent, so return that bill to the respective house, requesting that they will consider the bill or any specified provision thereof. In particular, if any amendments required, so that can be insisted by the president office. If it is amended according to president instructions, so it is fine. Otherwise, if it is sent to president office for second time, so the presumption is that president has to sign that particular bill. So that is the procedure. Once that bill is signed by the president, so the bill will be published in that official gazette. The Ministry of Law and Justice will take care of that. So that will be published in that Gazette of India. So the copies of the act will be forwarded to state government for publication in their official gazette. Even the printed copies in a suitable form will be circulated for general public also. So that is the final stage. So the important stages relating to consideration and passing and consideration of the bill is like first reading, second reading, third reading, then assent of the public, what is that, president, and publication. So joint session, you have to explain joint session also. In addition to that, there are certain incidental rules relating to this consideration of the bill. Particularly, what is the procedure with respect to prorogation or dissolution of the House of People. So that we have to into here. Prorogation. Prorogation, that is temporary suspension of this session. A bill pending in Parliament, like the Article 103 of the Indian Constitution, 107, sorry, 107 subclass 3 of the Indian Constitution says like a bill pending in Parliament shall not lapse by reason of prorogation of the houses. So it will not affect the validity or passing of that particular bill before the parliament. That is the tendency. In certain circumstances, that bill might be opposed by opposite parties or because of some hidden agenda. So they may create such kind of scene in the parliament so as to oppose that bill. So merely because of that, whether bill will be losing its sanctity. So that is the issue. Normally, we could witness such kind of things in the parliament. Even that UK Supreme Court in the year 2019, September 2019, a leading decision that was given by the Supreme Court of UK in the year 2019, September. So the court viewed that the court need not look at the motive for prorogation, but that what mattered was the effect of prorogation. So the court concluded that prorogation would be unlawful if it has the effect of frustrating or preventing the House to pass that particular piece of legislation without reasonable justification. So the court viewed that the power of the parliament to carry out its constitutional functions as a legislature and as the body of a responsible constitutional authority for the supervision of the executive, so that should not be attacked by such kind of prorogation. So accordingly, the court held that it will not affect the validity of the bill. So that is prorogation. Then dissolution of the house. So dissolution concept that is applicable only for house of people. What would be the fate of that particular bill? The bill may be passed in Rajya Sabha, but it is pending before Lok Sabha, or bill that is passed, it is passed in that Lok Sabha but sent to Rajya Sabha. When the bill is pending before Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, so that House of Parliament may be dissolved. So under such, there are many such things. If you look into Indian history, there are many such piece of legislations, particularly that Lokpal bill. If we look into history of Lokpal bill, so I think that is the bill which is subjected to it became victim of such kind of dissolution of the house. So so as to understand impact of prorogation and dissolution of the parliament, we have to look into Article 107 of the Indian Constitution. As I said, a bill pending in a parliament shall not lapse by reason of the prorogation of the house. So it is very clear. The second thing is the second provision, that is Article 107 subclass 4 says like a bill pending in the Council of States which has not been passed by the House of the People shall not lapse on a dissolution of the House of the People. So a bill pending in Council of States which has not been passed by the House of People shall not lapse on dissolution of the House of the People. So let us presume particular bill is introduced before Council of States, Rajya Sabha, that has been passed by the Rajya Sabha, but by that time that House of People dissolved. So under such circumstances, it will not affect the sanctity of that. So the only thing is that bill is to be taken up before House of People, and accordingly Lok Sabha will be passing that bill by following all these things. But the second thing is important. Like Article 107 subclass 5 says like this: a bill which is pending in the House of People or which having been passed by House of People is pending in the Lok Sabha in the Council of States shall, subject to the provision of Article 108, lapse on dissolution of the House of the People. But the same bill, if it is passed by Lok Sabha and pending before Rajya Sabha, so that will be lapsed. Even if the particular bill is pending before Lok Sabha, that will be lapsed. So that shows like the democratic value of the House of People. So that has been given. In fact, that Lok Sabha, it is permanent in nature. every 3 years there would be one third of the members will be um, retired from that Council of States or Rajya Sabha, but there is no such kind of things in House of People. So that is the representative authority. So they represent the people of this country. If any dissolution of that, so the pending bills before the House of People or Parliament, like Lok Sabha, will be considered as what is that? Lapsed, even if the bill is pending before Council of States, but if it is passed by the Lok Sabha, then also it will be considered as lapsed. Then the next thing is that is the procedure to be followed for money bill. So as the money bill, it is quite a unique bill as it affects the financial status of the nation. So the special procedure that has been contemplated under Constitution regarding money bill. So according to Article 109 of the Indian Constitution, a money bill shall not be introduced in Council of States. So that is the accountability. So the money that is collected by virtue of imposing tax or that such kind of thing, such kind of tax on people of this country. So the appropriation of that money, so that is to be taken care by what is that Lok Sabha. Accordingly, the power that has been given for House of People, even regarding passing of the bill, also we come across dominance of Lok Sabha. Anyway, the special procedure relating to money bill that has been contemplated under Article 109 of the Indian Constitution. We could sum up Article 109 like this. The first thing is a money bill that is to be necessarily submitted before the Lok Sabha, that is to be initiated in Lok Sabha, that shall not be introduced before the Council of Minister. After a money bill passed by the House of People or Lok Sabha, so that is to be transmitted to Council of States or Rajya Sabha. So within 30 days, 14 days from the date of its receipt of the bill, so the House of People they have to return that particular bill to the House of People with recommendations. So the House of People or Lok Sabha thereupon may accept whatever the recommendation made by the council or reject all or any of the recommendation made by the Council of Council of States. So if the Lok Sabha accepts any of the recommendation of the Council of the State, so the money bill shall be deemed to have been passed by both the houses with the amendments recommended by Council of the States and as accepted by the Rajya Sabha. But if the Lok Sabha or House of People did not accept any of the recommendation of the Council of the State, so the money bill shall not be deemed to be lapsed. So the procedure that has been contemplated under Article 109 subclass 4 of the Indian Constitution, it says that if the House of the People does not accept any of the recommendation of the Council of the State, so the money bill shall be deemed to have been passed. As I said, that should be deemed as passed by both the houses in form in which it was passed by the House of People without any of the amendments recommended by Council of Ministers. So if the money bill passed by the House of the People and transmitted to the Council of State for its recommendation is not returned to the House of People or Lok Sabha within 14 days, so the presumption is that the bill has been passed by both the houses of Parliament. So accordingly, the expiration of the said period will be considered as valid. What is that passing of the bill? So that is money bill. Then one more important thing relating to consideration of the bill and passing of the bill is like withdrawal of the bill. So once that bill is submitted, whether it can be withdrawn, so that Rajya Sabha Rule 118 and Lok Sabha Rule 110, so they are relating to withdrawal of the bill. Of course, in certain there are many such bills which are withdrawn by the minister withdrawn by the private members. So what is the procedure for that? So that has been contemplated here. So if it becomes necessary uh, at any stage to withdraw a particular bill, so the Minister of Law and Justice and the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, they are to be consulted by the respective ministry. So normally bills will be introduced by, as I said in your previous class, by the respective ministry. So approval of the Law and Justice Ministry, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, even cabinet approval. So that is also required. But in certain circumstances, because of lack of time or want of time, it may not possible for the what is it that respective minister to get approval of the cabinet. So under such circumstances, the minister in charge will take a decision in consultation with the prime minister. So as soon as possible, a note relating to withdrawal of the bill to be submitted uh, for the cabinet for ex post facto approval of the cabinet. In addition to that, the statement authenticated by ministry of that respective ministry giving reason for withdrawal of the bill, so that is to be sent to secretariat of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and that is to be submitted within 5 days before the date on which that motion for withdrawal is to be made. So that is regarding withdrawal of the bill. Then private bill. So far as private bill nowadays, that is the uh, way in which the minority interest. So submission of the bill, passing of the bill, consideration of the bill, that is not necessarily from the government or minister of that respective ministry. Even private members, see, you could witness those things, like how many. So that is the way to assess the in which way the private members or the member of the parliamentarians, they have been provided opportunity to bring changes or to infuse law for this country. So the just like the member or like the minister of respective ministry, so they too have to give notice of motion for introducing that particular bill. Of course, that bill motion for introducing bill may be with printing of the bills, or even after motion also that can be sent for printing. So the printing of the bills and all that will be taken care by that secretariat of that respective houses, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So the subsequent stage would be the same stage. But the thing is that the motion will be introduced by them if any discussion, like while discussing on principles of the particular bill. So they have to defend that bill. They have to answer that questions posed by the bill. Accordingly, the fate of the bill will be decided in the house. So private members, they have been given adequate. There are many such bills in that website. Kindly go through that. So some of the parliamentarians, they are so vibrant so far as private bills are concerned. Sorry, long back I saw that one member from that northeast state, he has introduced many bills. So that shows active. See, on the one hand, we are witnessing the parliamentarians who rarely attending that session. Even there was allegation against Sachin Tendulkar, allegation against Amrish when they were the members of the parliamentarians. Like rarely they were attending parliament. Even there are some parliamentarians who sit and sleep in the parliament. But there is another category of the parliamentarian. They are quite vibrant, and they used to introduce such kind of the laws, bills relating to contemporary issues. So there are such kind of things. So overall, what we have to look into here is there are certain fundamental principles or standards to be followed by the parliamentarians so as to introduce what is it the dynamic or reasonable laws required for that particular country. So all these things will be taken care by parliamentarians by discussing the particular bill before the parliament. So the parliamentary form of democracy, so that has made meaningful by infusing or inculcating all these procedures. In fact, it is not static in nature, so it is dynamic according to changing conditions. The what is the changes are introduced to these parliamentary procedural rules accordingly. The what is that the business of the parliament, so that has been taken care in India. It is very difficult to understand the passing of the bill in the parliament. For example, in addition to this, if you look into the procedural rules, there are rules relating to how to consider that particular ordinance as a bill. What is that procedure for converting that ordinance into bill? What is that procedure relating to considering the bills relating to that union territories? What is that bill? The procedure relating consideration of the bill by the President of India, if it is reserved for the assent of the president. So these are all the things to be understood so as to properly understand the concept of passing and introduction and passing of the bill in the legislature. But due to want of time, paucity of time, so we have to be able to understand these three readings. That could be quite substantial understanding of that introduction and passing of the bill in this country. So with that, I have concluded that topic, that is introduction and passing of the bill. Next class, let us take up some other topic.